Welcome back to the Why So Serious podcast. Brandon, Mike, and Devin are here for our first Book of the Month podcast, and this time we're doing Marvel Secret Wars 2. But we're doing the whole story, so we're starting all the way back in 2013 with New Avengers and Avengers. And we're going to go through Infinity, through Forever Evil, Original Sin. I'll think about DC. Through Original Sin, all the way up through the Secret Wars series. But this time we're doing issues 1 through 6 in New Avengers and 1 through 11 in Avengers. So I guess before we get started, get into the depths of it, had either of you read this run before, and what were your overall thoughts?
No, I had not read. I wasn't a big comic book person. I like mainly stuck to the medium of the cartoons that are on Disney XD and came on other streaming networks. But I kind of knew they touched on the stories, and this year on Disney XD they're doing Secret Wars, so you get to see the birth of the New Avengers, which was cool. But as far as the in-depthness of all these storylines, I had no idea about.
Not the Avengers run, but I think we did a few issues for the Inhumans episode we did way back in the early days of the podcast, but we didn't really read it in a way that the New Avengers run made sense. It was really just a Black Bolt focus, if I'm not mistaken.
I just started reading Black Bolt's book, his solo book. It's pretty good.
I love Black Bolt. I think he's awesome.
Look at Devin getting into the comic books now.
Yeah, man.
Marvel Unlimited, sponsor us. So basically this is my choice to start for our first book of the month because I fucking love Jonathan Hickman. He's an incredible writer, and this is just the beginning. Devin and Mike have no idea what's in store for them for going forward, but it only gets better. Basically, an overarching story of this is there's basically these. Let's just start with New Avengers #1. So basically what happens is T'Challa's people are out, his younger people in Wakanda are out there, and they just got through some ritual. And then they realize some rhino comes running, and they're like, what the fuck is this? And they walk through, and they step through to another world of Wakanda. And they see this woman and this guy, and they're talking in this weird language, and they look like they're about to blow up an Earth because there's an Earth hanging in the sky. And they're like, what the fuck's going on? And they get into a big fight, and then the woman blows up the Earth. We later know her as Black Swan. Excuse me. But she blows up the Earth, and we find out that there are these things called incursions. Mike, you want to talk about what an incursion is?
So it's like the way that Earths are supposed to start and die, something went wrong there, and they're overlapping in such a way that now two Earths are basically sort of colliding, and the Avengers have to stop it by either choosing one Earth to survive or both Earths get blown up in the process.
There could only be one.
And it's also a little more than that because the Earth is the incursion point for the universes.
Well, so, their Earth, like the Avengers Earth. The one that you read from.
Well, no. Both Earths are the incursion points for both universes. So if one Earth crashes into the other Earth and they collide,
that Earth is done, period.
No. Both universes are done, not just the Earth.
Oh, my bad.
The whole universe in both of those universes are done.
Wiped off that, I guess, the multiverse.
But if you destroy one of the Earths, then both universes survive. Only thing is that Earth dies, but that universe stays around, which we'll get, which is important going forward on why that's important.
They had diagrams in the book, but I was just I still didn't follow what the fuck is really going on. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. So basically, the way Reed Richards explains it is there's a start date. There's a beginning of everything. There's the end of everything. Everybody understands that.
In the beginning, there was nothing.
And then there's Earths and universes. And then we found out that there's multiverse. So there's many, many different Earths, infinite numbers of Earths. And they all exist simultaneously to each other. And then at some point, the Earths will die, and then the universe will end. But what has happened is you found out, like Mike says, that the Earths are dying prematurely. And then what you found out is that the multiverse is the cause of that, and these two Earths are colliding. So basically, Black Panther decides that he can't deal with this, and he calls in the Illuminati. And the Illuminati the Illuminati was made a long time ago, by Brian Michael Bendis in the earlier 2000s, and Black Panther kind of walked away from that. And there's the first page in New Avengers is basically telling you the story of what happened with the Illuminati. So I'll read that and I'll post it in the show notes. But it basically says that years ago, the most powerful men in the world voted on whether or not to run the world in secret. Only one of them disagreed. And then Iron Man says, T'Challa, and he says, I'm telling you now, end this. Walk away from the table and go home. And then looks like Reed stands up and says, Iron Man says, wow, T'Challa. And then Black Panther says, you just decided all by yourselves that you're the Earth's protectors, and that you and only you, not your teammates or family, are trustworthy enough to include in the process. What happens when you disagree? When one of these earth-changing moments finds you all at odds with each other here in the secret meeting, what happens then? Walk away now. So some background is, and I don't know if Mike knows this, but or Devin, but that meeting was an actual panel in the book, and that was from when they were trying to decide to send Hulk to Planet Hulk, send him into space, which they ultimately did. So that panel, that is what he was talking about, and they ended up sending the Hulk into space, which started the Planet Hulk storyline. But the Illuminati,
wow, cool.
Yeah, so the Illuminati consists of Black Panther, Namor, Doctor Strange, Iron Man.
I hate Namor.
Well, they're all dicks.
Namor is the best.
He's the biggest dick.
He's the realest dick.
He is the biggest in the real. He's the best one in the room because he is the realest that sees shit for what it is and calls people out for their bullshit and their cynicism. Like, because you can't have it both ways. Like, he calls Cap out every time, and then he really sticks it to T'Challa. I love their back and forth. Namor and T'Challa definitely has the best back and forth, and then you'll find later on into the books why it's so significant, those two characters having a back and forth.
Yeah, well, then there's Reed Richards. It was originally Professor X, but he is currently dead at this point in the comic books. And then eventually it becomes Beast. So
I love that. That part was great, how they incorporated when they got all the gems together. And I had no idea that Beast would be in it. But that was pretty cool.
So, but Mike, what do you think about Black Panther's decision originally to walk away from the Illuminati? If you're Black Panther and you have concern about what these people would do, would you want to stay and see what they're doing, or would you be like, I don't want any parts of this, I don't want my name associated with this, I'm getting out of this?
He always puts Wakanda first, so it makes sense to his character. The people in the Illuminati are basically all like gods and kings. You know, Black Bolt and Namor. Iron
Tony
Man's
ain't
not
no
a
god.
Who?
Tony ain't no god.
Tony's
I'm saying he's not. That's
Tony
what I'm
or
saying.
Cap.
No, they're all arrogant leaders. Arrogant.
They're all
men.
like the best of the best, though.
I mean, the most arrogant. They are the men who do.
Cap's not really arrogant, and
Cap
neither
is
Black
absolutely
Panther.
arrogant. Are you kidding me?
He is self-righteous.
Cap is so self-righteous.
Black Panther and Beast aren't arrogant.
Black Panther is absolutely arrogant, and Beast is not an original member. He's only doing it reluctantly because Professor X is dead. So you think Black Panther shouldn't have done it?
No, I think it makes sense for him to do it because he always puts Wakanda first, and he doesn't. It's like you always say.
I think his short-sightedness is a problem.
Yeah, I think he should have stayed originally because to see what these motherfuckers are doing. You think if I'm Black Panther, I trust Tony? Like, that's the last person in the Marvel Universe I would trust. Nobody trusts Tony.
I trust Tony.
You think I'm trusting Reed Richards? Kidding out?
Fuck no,
kidding
I trust
me?
Reed Richards.
I'm not trusting them.
Definitely not Namor. Definitely not Namor.
I don't like Namor. He's I think he's the worst.
Yo, he's my favorite character in this whole book, yo.
No, mine would probably be honestly Black Bolt.
Black Bolt doesn't do shit.
Do shit, yeah.
He's great.
He didn't do anything in any of these
he
books.
didn't do anything except fuck the dude up.
Yeah, he
That
fucked
was
that
awesome.
one dude up.
He screamed at him, and everyone showed their faces. And he was like, "Okay."
But he didn't do shit. All right, so in issue 1, we meet Black Swan. What do you think about the Black Swan character that you know so far?
I just think it was dope how I just loved the art of Wakanda, and then how they had no idea what the fuck was going on, and then they tried to come into action and got fucked up, and then Black Panther had to come save them, and then he fucked their little machine up. What was that machine called? I forget.
What machine?
The Earth destroying machine that she had placed on the planet.
Oh, they call it the God damn it, I forget what they call it.
But anyway,
nullifier. Something nullifier. Yeah. I forget what they call it.
So he had to destroy that shit so they couldn't destroy their Earth, the Earth that Black Panther inhabits.
By the way, that guy that was with him was a Manifold from another universe. And
really?
Yeah, and we'll see Manifold more, and you see him in a lot of series going forward. But he's basically a teleporter. He can help teleport stuff. Yeah, anywhere. What'd you think of Black Swan, Mike?
She was cool. I don't really trust her. She gets better as the issues go on.
You see why you can't trust her, right?
Well, she ends worlds, but I think she's a really interesting character, and I think we're reading more of the New Avengers past 6 going forward, aren't we?
Yeah, we're reading all of them.
Yeah, so I'm really curious to see where she goes from here because I've only read up to 6 for this podcast.
Oh, you're crazy. I kept reading. You gotta keep reading.
Brandon told me not to keep reading.
Yeah, don't go ahead because then you're gonna say shit that's not part of the first.
I would never. I would never do that.
I would. I definitely would.
Oh, he knows you.
I would definitely be like, yeah, but you know what's coming. So I am interested to see where she goes, and I'm curious to see if I kind of like her, like as an ally to the Illuminati, because she helped him out. But
she wasn't a fucking ally. She's a prisoner. Let's be clear.
Oh, wouldn't you a prisoner too?
Damn right. But we can't.
I'm not saying you let her lose totally, but she helped him out at least. At the end there.
She's not a fucking ally. You know what I mean? Like, she's in it for herself. Like, because she will die if this Earth dies too.
True, but I take it back though because I just remember that guy who's with Galactus. I don't know who that is.
Is that guy a herald?
Yeah, that's one of his heralds.
Yeah, she was like talking to him at the end. She was like saying how something's coming that they can help each other. So I was like, all right, I guess we're not a good guy anymore.
Exactly.
So she talks about in issue 2, she talks about the Great Destroyer and how it's this being that's out here making these decisions, and you got to please the Great Destroyer who'll take your universe. And basically, at the end of issue 1, you see everybody that he calls Illuminati to come to Wakanda. And when you come into issue 2, you realize the door, they don't fuck with Namor because Namor killed a bunch of Wakandans when he brought a tidal wave and destroyed half of Wakanda with his fucking, when he had the Phoenix Force from AVX. And so he's still like public enemy number 1 in Wakanda. And that will come to a head later on in this series. You will definitely see that. Basically...
no, even though it didn't come to a head, but I'm just saying, look...
No, it will come to a head. No, I'm telling you.
I'm just saying, he said, I will kill you.
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
That was early. He stated that shit early. You will die by my hands. Like, I thought I was like, yeah.
As a way to identify themselves, you find out that each of them has an Infinity Stone. Well, not all of them, but all the Infinity Stones are separated between all of them. So, Mike, when you saw that, did you get a little nervous? Or why they
I was pumped. I was not nervous. I was pumped. I was ready. I was like, do it. Bring them together.
So we find out that the incursions last exactly 8 hours. So you have to, and they built this device to try to tell themselves when an incursion's coming. And they figured that out.
Whole weird hand implant shit. Like, what the fuck, yo?
Yeah.
Like, that was weird as fuck, but.
And so this is where we get our first dilemma. As soon as you see Cap, they're talking about all their options, and they're like, we got to do this or this, and then we have to be prepared to do blah, 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 blah. And then Cap's like, we're going to do what we always do. We're going to take our time and we're going to figure out something. And I'm like, Cap, you are way too righteous for this group. These are groups of arrogant assholes willing to do whatever it takes. You're not willing to do whatever it takes. This is not going to end well for you. And so when were you on Cap's side, Mike, or were you on the rest of the Illuminati side?
No,
at this point, this is before the Infinity Gauntlet.
I was with the Illuminati. Oh yeah, it was.
You have to be with the Illuminati. Like, are you serious? I don't give a fuck about this other Earth. Like, I ain't never been there. I'm trying to live. Never been.
I mean, either way, either one or two worlds have to die, so you might as well try to save your own.
Yeah, but here's the thing: as far as they know, at some point, theirs is going to end. So, how long do you keep doing this?
They don't know that they. Well, there's another strategy that Black Swan talked about that doesn't have to end.
Yes. Well,
yes. Technically it ends, but
technically
the people survive.
Yeah, the people survive. So you could decide to find another inhabitable planet in your universe and get everybody off of the Earth and destroy the Earth, and then go live that way. So that is an option.
How would you coordinate some shit that big though? Like, what the fuck, yo?
Exactly.
I'm sure Reed Richards will make something that teleports every single person on the planet to somewhere else or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Cap refuses to accept the fact that you may have to fuck up one of these Earths. Like, I'm sorry, but you may have to do that. And he don't want to deal with that. And Iron Man's like, bro, we got to leave everything on the table. I'm sorry. And T'Challa and Rita basically like, this is all nice, but at the end of the day, we're going to have to fuck up these Earths. I don't know what y'all are talking about. But we
already started trying to reverse engineer this shit to see how this shit works. We're going to blow that shit up really quickly. Fuck that.
So,
I like Black Panther and them showing his intellect as far as being him and Reed re-engineering the destroyer, the world destroyer thing. That was cool because you don't really see. We haven't seen T'Challa's intellect in the movies or anything like that. We just know he is smart and he is a diplomat. So it was good to see in the comic books. I just love that.
So in issue 3, we found out that Professor X embedded a memory deep within Hank. In case anything happened to him, he would tell him where the Infinity Gem, the Mind Gem is, and give him a little bit of information about the Illuminati. And so basically they find out that there's an incursion, and they're like, all right. Somebody says, why don't we use the Infinity Gauntlet to stop this? So they're like, all right, we got to go get all the gems. We have all of them except the Mind Gem. Professor X has that, so we need to go get that. And they go get him, and they figure out like who's going to do this, and they give their gauntlet to Cap. And I think
which is the best outcome of
that's the best person. That's the only person I want with the Infinity Gauntlet. That is what Cap is for. Because I do not trust any of them other people that have that gauntlet. Not a single one of them.
Not even T'Challa. Fuck that.
No, not T'Challa. None of them. No. So, and then Cap goes and he basically pushes the Earth back, but 4 out of the 5 gems get destroyed, and then one of them, the Time Gem, just disappears. Which we'll see later, just as a hint. We'll see that come up a little bit later, why it just disappeared. But Mike, what do you think about the decision to use the gauntlet, and then were you surprised when everything broke? I
was excited, and then I was really sad. I wanted to see more of the gems, but now you have me excited again, obviously, because I don't know. I think that if the Time Gem disappeared, I feel like they could use it to get the other ones back. Probably.
I didn't even think about it like that. I was just like, damn, I just knew like it was gonna work because I'm like, it's the Infinity Gauntlet, like why wouldn't it work? And then the way Namor snapped off on Captain America was so good. Like, yo, Namor was so good. Hey, Namor was like, you fuck up, like, how you fuck this up, Cap? We just gave you the Infinity Gauntlet and you fucked that shit up. You can't do shit right. You self-righteous prick. I was like, oh God. And then Cap felt bad and shit. Like he felt like he needed a hug.
Well, did you notice how when they put all the gems together, you get these panels of the Watchers, Galactus, and Thanos.
Yes.
And they all have a sense towards this shit, and they knew something was going on. Something fucking intergalactic and cosmic was going on, and they needed to like, and that's going to happen. So all the gems shattered, and they're like, all right, we tried that this time, it worked, but there's going to be another incursion soon, and now what are we going to do? We don't have the fucking Infinity Gauntlet. And so at this point, Cap's like, I know what you're all thinking, and the answer is no. This is not an option. We can't do it. And then basically T'Challa and then Tony was basically like, God, I knew you were going to say that, but I hope you weren't going to say that, but I fucking knew you were going to say it. Fucking do it. And then Doctor Strange basically cast a spell to wipe his memory. So what'd you guys think about that?
Got to. You can't be
have no choice. You have no choice. There's no other way to get around it.
So you
too many hard no's. Yeah,
I mean, Cap would have tried to stop them otherwise.
You know, that man put his feet into the sand, put his heels into the dirt, and he dug in. So we know where he stands on it. You got to wipe his memory because we're all for the greater good right now. We had to make a hard decision, and he is opposed to it. And if he doesn't know he made that decision, so be it. It's a win-win because we got to save the world. The thing about it is, like, we don't have time to act like we could, try every option. We have two alternatives, yo. It's one, we did plan A, that shit didn't work. Plan B it is. That's all we have time for.
So
I mean, they have 8 hours.
Yeah, they have 8 hours.
And if Cap's going to be causing trouble while they're trying to do this, then it's just going to waste more time.
So then we switch over to Avengers number 1. And you basically get Cap with like these dreams, and then he wakes up, and Tony's there, and he has no idea what the fuck happened. So we know that at some point he's going to get these memories back. He has to, and that's going to be very interesting when he remembers what the fuck they did to him. So Mike, what did you think about the Avengers part of this story?
I like New Avengers much better. I found the Avengers stuff to be boring. I was less interested in what was going on to the Avengers stuff, and it was longer. And I always just found myself wanting to be done with it so that I can get back to the New Avengers. But it wasn't bad. It was just it was not as entertaining. It was not as fantastic as the New Avengers stuff was, in my opinion. I don't know.
Devin?
The New Avenger, the Avengers was, it was what it was. It was a story that we were reading. I liked it, but didn't love it. New Avengers kept me page turning.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not gonna say it's bad, or it's part of the story, so it's great, and that it ties everything together. But not a whole bunch.
Yeah, it doesn't even really tie everything together.
No,
there was that one panel.
No.
Of Cap having that one dream.
No, trust me. This is what I'm trying to explain, and this is why we're starting here. This is a long story. Secret Wars, the story of Secret Wars is a long story, and it all matters in the end. So everything that you're reading now is going to matter as we go further in Avengers and New Avengers, and then once we start reading the Secret Wars miniseries, maxi series, because it's 12 issues. When we're going to start reading that, it'll all matter.
I did like Thor though. Thor was good, and then you got to see Hulk do shit. No, I always fuck when I see. I love when Hulk does shit, so that's cool. But yeah, again, it was good as far as the seeds it was laying. I knew it was necessary. So I will say that it was necessary, and we get a lot of good stuff. We get the is it the what's the fucking people that the Smasher's part of?
The who?
The Smasher. What team is she part of?
What's Smasher?
The Smasher.
Oh yeah, whatever happened to her?
You mean the Guardian?
Yeah. I don't know what they're fucking
this
called.
is what happens. So basically, Cap decides that he has to create a new Avengers team. So he goes out and he decides to bring in a new cast of characters. A lot of it's the original team, Thor, but he gets Captain Marvel, Black Widow, just a lot of characters get brought in to come help because they realize that basically this being named, I don't know how to say his name, Ahelio or Dehelio,
Ex Nihilo, whatever.
Ex Nihilo. So basically,
I like that with Ex Nihilo, yeah.
That's just a guess. I don't know if that's how they.
It sounds better than
basically
ours.
he creates these organic bombs that can like fuck up the like create new life on the planet. And he's got these bombs going, and he puts them all over the country, and they find out that it's coming from Mars, and they go to Mars to try to stop them. And he's powerful as fuck, and he basically stops all of them, including Thor.
Yeah.
And Thor is angry as shit like he always is. But Cap is back home, and he's like, he gets away. They send him back to Earth. Like, they basically whip his ass.
They whipped everybody's ass and then sent Captain America back to Earth to deliver a message.
Yeah, so Cap gets all these other people's helps. And basically, Helio created this brand new, like, being named, they named him Adam. And he's, like, speaks this weird language and shit. But they bring him back to Earth with him because they're like, he's a human, he needs to come back to Earth. And we also meet later in the series. We'll just jump around from here, but we meet Miss Universe. Which
awesome, beautiful.
I liked
character.
her. I liked her.
Awesome.
She was one of the few things I enjoyed.
Well,
I was talking to Brandon, I was like, I would love her own book just so we can dive into whatever it is. But I know she's too powerful to have a book by herself right now.
She's way overpowered. Yeah. So they're basically doing this side mission where they're trying to figure out what's going on with this and how this new. Oh shit! Sorry, watching the UMBC game at the same time. Oh my god. Oh, sorry. And then so did you guys like the team that Cap put together, or did you think that's going to cause problems going forward with all those personalities?
I think he got a great mix, and I love in the issues they show everybody's tree, like they do the Hyperion tree as far as I think that's Thor. Who's on the Hyperion tree?
What do you mean tree?
He's talking about the thing at the beginning
circle.
of each book.
Yeah.
Oh, where they talk
show their
about
symbols.
Oh yeah, it's just like whoever's going to be in that book that week.
No, but it's a tree connected, Brandon. If you can tell, they're connected. Like if you look at the thing that has Captain America's shield, and then it has a branch off of just Hawkeye right now, and then it has Thor, and then it has Smasher. Who's on Thor's tree? Smasher. I want to say Sunspot, and that means Cannonball, I think. Yeah. But yeah, they have different ones, and you can just see what trees are coming off of what. And it was pretty neat to me. So I could follow just a little bit better.
That's other. Speaking of following it, that's the other thing that I didn't like about the Avengers run in comparison to the New Avengers one was there were parts where I was very confused what was going on in the Avengers run.
What were you confused about?
I was confused about Miss Universe, or not Miss Universe. What's her
Captain
name?
Universe. Captain Universe.
Captain Universe's alter ego. Didn't know what was going on there. I was confused when they were doing the arms deal thing with AIM. Was that 11 or 12? I might have accidentally read one extra.
No,
that was 11, right?
No, the arms deal. No, I think you went too far.
Oh well, I was confused there for whatever. I'm not gonna lie. I don't remember his name. He just looks like Bruce Lee and does a lot of martial arts.
Oh, that's Shang-Chi. I mean, he's a character. He's been in the Marvel universe for a long time. He's like a kung fu character. He had a lot of stories of Iron Fist back in the 70s.
Well, I don't know what he was doing, what he was talking about half the time. I don't know. There's just a few things where I was just like, I'm not really sure what's supposed to be happening right now throughout the Avengers. I mean, it didn't happen very often. Eventually, I figured it out. I also didn't fully understand what Ex Nihilo was doing to Earth until like the last few issues when they like.
No, I knew from a jump, yo.
He said what he was doing. He said he's creating life. And he's been given this power. And they even give his backstory and everything that went through with him. And he's basically like, now I have the power to create life, and I'm going to make life better. And everybody on Earth is like, leave us alone, stop fucking with us. And he's basically like, You don't understand. What I'm doing is going to make it better. Because in his line, he's enhancing life, not destroying life. But to us, our Earthlings, we're like, this is destroying what we know as life. So that's basically what happened. And then when Captain Universe showed up, he had to bow down to her because she was a bigger being to them. But
so why didn't she just show up?
Because her alter ego cannot control what happens with her. So she just happens to have that come. Basically, she turns into that whenever something causes her to do that. So
right, because like there's never a reason. She just shows up every time. She just shows up, and then she has these extraordinary powers, and then
basically says the Unipower is an extra dimensional force that possesses an individual, or on one occasion twins, in a time of crisis, transforming that person into Captain Universe. As Captain Universe, the transformed person typically retains his or her original personality and appearance, though with Captain Universe's costume and heroic traits superimposed over the original. The Unipower itself emanates from the Enigma Force, the exact nature of which naturally remains an enigma. It is believed, however, to be connected to the Microverse, home of the Micronauts. Although the Unipower typically empowers normal, non-superpowered humans, it has in the past empowered Dr. Doom, Spider-Man, among others. So basically, it gives you a ridiculous level of powers, including time travel, and it's a force or power that possesses people. So
that makes more sense, but they didn't explain that in the book.
Yeah, well, they weren't going to explain it because it's in a character that's existed since like the 70s or the 80s. But yeah,
we can't talk about. We got to talk about Abyss as far as we talk about Exilios. Abyss is his sister, and they've been traveling the world. Traveling different worlds, taking over and making the worlds better as far as making better beings. Helios is the life giver, and Abyss is the destroyer of that, and that's why they are brother and sister. I loved in the issue The Garden when Abyss was trying to hump Thor. She was definitely throwing the panties at Thor because she wants to feel like what it means like to be with a god. That was pretty good.
You also meet Kevin Conner, who is fucking ridiculously strong, and he basically knocked Hulk into space, which was crazy as shit. And later in the issues, and he's basically like his name is Starbrain, and so I guess the best way to explain it is he's like this really, really powerful being that kind of doesn't know the extent of his own powers. When a strange anomaly affected the superflow of Earth 616, he was given the power of the Starbrand during the White event. His transformation caused him to annihilate a whole college. The Avengers later arrived to investigate the event as guided by Nightmask and Captain Universe. So that's what happened in this story with him. And he's not a bad guy, but he's fucking strong as shit. And we see him later in this big fight when everybody's kind of fighting when they go back to Mars, which is like this fucking great ass fight. Also, we end up seeing like these agents come together. So this part was kind of fucked up. So one of the agents was like going to figure out something going on with his daughter because it was from Alpha Flight Mega Flight. It's like a Canadian secret agent group, and they were going to see like what was going on with all these sites of where the organic bombs that the Helio put on Earth, and he basically like runs into like his daughter, and she says something to him, and he just shoots himself dead. And I was like, God damn, he shot himself in the fucking head.
Shit was
what the
brutal,
fuck
man.
did she say to him? And she basically said whatever that was bigger than they could imagine. And so something big is coming with these things that are happening. Back to New Avengers, because Mike doesn't like Avengers because he's not very patient. So you listeners should know by listening to all these shows, Mike is very impatient. And I'm trying to teach him how to be more patient so he can enjoy these larger stories without jumping to conclusions.
Hey, I've read every issue of Metal so far, and I've loved it. Very long.
You love anything Batman. That doesn't count. Wait, that does not count.
It's still a good story.
So in New Avengers 4, we find out that Tony wants to weaponize the sun because, of course, he's that type of
God,
asshole.
he's so good. Though.
Awesome.
That was cool though. That was really cool.
I'm
though.
in support of Tony weaponizing the sun. Great idea.
Yeah, okay. That sounds like a horrible idea. Why do you?
Like
I don't understand, Mike. You've watched all these Avengers movies. You've clearly read some comic books. What about Tony Stark is trustworthy? There's nothing in his history.
He's not a bad guy.
Weaponize the sun. So I get what you're saying. He isn't a bad guy.
All right,
but,
we're good to go. We're recording again.
Okay. Go ahead, Mike.
You were talking.
Oh no. Okay. I was like, Tony is the worst because him and Reed are so similar in the fact that they are always paranoid about the next big thing.
Yeah.
So they're always in their own mind, and they're making terrible decisions without consulting anybody else or running anything
because
by.
they think they know it all.
And it's terrible. They always did terrible things.
It's like the epitome of like white male privilege. Like Tony is rich, he's a genius, not taking that away from him. But because he's rich and because he's a genius, he looks at himself like he's the sole person who can make these decisions. And time again, he's proven to make bad decisions. And I don't trust, first of all, the amount of arrogance you have to think that you and 6 other people can make the decisions for the entire universe is out of this world. Like, the amount of privilege you must have to say, you know what, I think it's reasonable that me and 6 other people are the people who can decide the fate of the universe, and that we're going to decide not to tell other people that we exist and that we're deciding the fate of the universe. Like, think about the level of arrogance you have to even participate in that. That's why they're all arrogant. They're all arrogant. And Beast is reluctantly doing it because he's basically like, I don't trust y'all motherfuckers. So I'm going to sit here and sit over here on the side. And he don't really say shit unless he's asked. Shit. Because he's
and then he's always like, hey, he has the clear eyes. He has clear vision and focus. And like, when this shit comes at you as fast as these decisions have to come at you, you have a moment of what about somebody else, the compassion. And Beast is actually functioning as the conscience of the group when these decisions are being made, but he still has to go in favor of the whole group. Right. Like, but there is that pause in him, and I see that.
So this is the issue where the incursion happens in New York, and they go over to the incursion point, go into the other Earth, and they see that Earth has a fucking statue of Magneto, and fucking Namor, of course, the asshole that he is, looks over at Beast and goes, "Oh, this intrigues you a little bit, doesn't it, Beast?" I'm like, you fucking asshole, like, golly. And so then they look over and they see Galactus is in the fucking world destroying it. So I think what happened was Galactus and his herald found out about these incursion points, and they knew about them, so they decided to go.
Was that their Galactus or that?
Yes, that was that Earth's Galactus. So basically, they found out that the Earth is an incursion point, and they decided to destroy the Earth to keep the rest of the universe alive. So Galactus went and fed on the Earth. So what'd you think about the Avengers' decision, our Avengers' decision to try to fight Terex and stop Galactus?
I don't know.
It didn't accomplish really anything.
Right. You got a prisoner? You got an extra prisoner, I guess?
But they still destroyed the world.
Oh,
yeah,
they're basically now, like Galactus is already eating this world.
Swan
fuck it.
And now Black Swan and the Herald are like gonna team up.
They're bosom buddies and shit.
You just wait, Mike. You're gonna lose your shit the next few issues when you see who they team up with. That's just a little tease for you. But yeah, and I'm like, so basically you guys have been lucking out. So the first one, you didn't have to destroy Black Swan, destroyed. And the second one, you used the Infinity Stone to get the Infinity Gauntlet to get away. The third one, Galactus was already eating the fucking Earth, so you're like, whatever, we can't stop him now. We might as well take his herald and let that Earth die. So you've been getting out kind of scot-free, but at some point, you ain't going to be able to make these decisions. And they even bring up, at some point, like, what happens when there's another Illuminati on another Earth trying to do the same thing and they run into our Earth? Like, what's going to happen then? Or what happened when you run into another version of the Avengers and they're trying to figure out what to do? Like, this is going to come to a head at some point. But basically, you also find that you don't fuck with Black Bolt because he basically screamed at this guy and it was just, it was over from at that point. Like,
he actually screamed, and then that shit fucked him up because anybody knows Black Bolt can shatter mountains with a whisper, destroy cities with a whisper, but he screamed at this dude and damn near took his face off. Like,
so that, yeah. At this point, we find out that Black Swan's been alive for billions of years, and they end up letting her out the cage, and she's basically talking shit like, she's like, I don't trust you. And she's like, why the fuck would you trust me? But y'all need me. You ain't going to do shit. So you might as well listen to me and stop fucking being arrogant. And she's basically calling them out on their arrogance because they're so, like, yo, Reed Richards is the best and the worst at sometimes. Tony's the worst. Fucking Neymar is a dick. Black Panther only cares about Wakanda. Like, these are horrible. Like, Black Bolt doesn't say shit, but you know, Mike, and we know from the the Inhumans.
He's all about the Inhumans.
Yeah, he don't give a shit about anybody else either. So we got 6-7 dudes who don't give a fuck about anybody about themselves making decisions about everybody else. Like, this is a appetite. This is like a equation for disaster. It's going to happen, and then to exacerbate everything, at the end of the issue, you find out that they found out the next incursion point, and they look at the map, and it's in fucking Latveria with Doom.
I thought of you guys when that happened because I know you guys love Doom.
Doom is the best. Could you not tell what happened when Doom was there? Oh. Doom was fucking them up because you don't fuck with Doom. You don't come to his home. You don't invade his country. You don't mess with Doom. And you kind of see that these people. So you basically meet these fucking what were those people called? What the fuck were those people called?
That's what I am. Hold on.
Hold on. Let me see. I wrote it down. You know what I'm talking about, Mike?
Yeah, but I forget their names.
They're robots, but hold on.
Well, you're missing the part about the blue and the red incursion that you got to explain.
What about it?
Oh no! Like the blue is
all the previous incursions.
Blue is destruction. I mean,
they're all destruction, but the blue is like it's quicker because these like alien things come on and like raise your world and like absorb it, and basically it's a wasteland by the time it gets destroyed by the actual incursion. At least I think that's the way I understood it.
And red is what?
Red is like the normal
incursion. More time,
8 hours, and it's just like it's basically just like two Earths of equal, not equal, but it's like it's two. There's not the army doesn't come out and like try to raise your world and absorb.
Oh, they're called the map makers. That's what they are. And so the map makers basically they come to your Earth and they follow you. Like they're able to track you down throughout the entire multiverse. So basically, the map makers were created by the Beyonders. Started interfering when Robin L. Sue started interfering with their plan to destroy the multiverse. They were created to charter worlds where the Molecule Man had died, and marking the movements of the disciples. The Raboon allows disciples the Black Swans, multiple, because you'll see more of them. A spoiler. So the map makers travel the multiverse through the use of the incursions, passing from Earth to Earth, stripping those planets of all usable materials down to the microbes in the soil and the elements in the core. A process that is stated to take several weeks. When the incursion occurs, the Sidereal Maris or bridge builders are sent on the new Earth to hold that incursion zone. The world they come from, which had previously been harvested as a truly dead world, stripped of all usable material, it has been intentionally destabilized. Around an hour into the incursion, a piece of the planet is pulled free and goes crashing into the new Earth. This triggers the destruction of the dead world, and the fragments of that crashing piece serves as a marker for the map makers to return to the surviving Earth. So after fucking Doom and the Avengers beat up those fucking map makers, you see that Doom has a piece of their old Earth. So now Doom knows. Now, see, this is where they fucked up. Now Doom knows about the goddamn incursions.
Yeah.
And you don't want, like, this is not going to end well for them when Doom is aware of this shit, because Doom is the type of person, he is like Reed Richards and Tony, but much, much worse. Because he will literally do whatever it takes to stop some shit from hurting his fucking people.
I was thinking about this shit. I was like, yo, Doom is a better version of Black Panther than Black Panther is. Like, it's Blackberry over everybody, yo. And like,
yeah, Doom and Black Panther and Doom and Namor and Doom and Reed, they have a lot in common. Like a lot. Their similarities, I don't want to say outweigh their differences, but they got a lot in common. A whole lot in common. Mike, what you think about these? I don't really know a lot about
Namor, but yeah. So Namor can swim fast and fly. Yes. That shit fucked me up.
He's got winged feet.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, Namor is one of the first mutants. He's a mutant. And he wasn't an X-Men, but you originally see him with the Fantastic. Well, he originally had his own series back in the Golden Age, but in the Silver Age with Marvel, he was basically, you see him in the Fantastic Four. But he's ridiculously strong. He's fast. He can fly. He can swim. He can breathe underwater. So he's a really powerful person, and a dick. He's a very powerful dick. So, Mike, what do you think about the scenes with Doom?
Doom was much cooler than I remember him from. I've never really read much.
We tried to tell you that shit a long time ago. Mike.
Look, I'm down for reading Doom. There's just so much. There's like a ton of Doom to read.
Yeah, because Doom is such a ridiculously good character that at one point Doom gets the power. Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to spoil that because I think that's from this story.
Okay.
But Doom is he is so arrogant. And you see his son, Christoph, he's an interesting character as well.
He's a moderate. He's a moderate conservative liberal. Like he's right on the fence. He's right on the fence. But he loves his dad.
So that's pretty much where we stopped after those issues. The next set of issues is interesting. We're going to read Thanos. So anybody who wants to read along with us, we're going to be reading Thanos Rising, which is a 6-issue miniseries. It is basically going to partly tell his origin, but also lead up to some stuff that's about to happen. We're going to read some more New Avengers and Avengers, and we're also going to read Infinity, which was a big crossover during that time. And all these are written by either Hickman or Jason Aaron, who are like some of the best comic book writers that you can find.
Marvel Unlimited, please sponsor us. We love you.
Mike, what are you any predictions going forward about what you think is going to happen, and what are your biggest questions moving forward in this story?
I don't know how they're going to stop the incursions because they have to at some point. And I obviously predict Captain America is going to get his memories back at some point, and that's going to cause problems. I think he's going to beat the crap out of Tony at least. He's going to be like, how many worlds? I don't know. But because he's righteous like that. But I don't really know. I like the New Avengers stuff a lot. The Avengers, I'm going to keep reading it because we have to. But
it's good, though. I mean, like I said, the Avengers stuff is good, though.
It's
Mike.
good. Like, it just doesn't tie in yet.
It's big. It's bigger. Like, it's big. It's macro, and New Avengers is micro. Like, that's
New
what
Avengers
it is.
is macro, too. They just haven't crossed over directly yet. But it's all big picture stuff. So you got to keep reading, but I think you will enjoy it. Devin, same thing. What are you looking forward to, and what questions do you have?
Definitely looking forward to the Black Swan shit, because that shit is just bubbling to get better. Like, her and Reed's conversations are great. Even her and Beast's conversation was really good. So I can't wait to see what she does at the end, because we do get to meet the other Black Swans. She talks about her sisters. So whatever happens with that is going to be great. How Cap gets his memories back is going to be good. Hopefully we get more Doom. I don't know how much Doom we're going to get. And definitely, like, I want to see whatever happens. What's his name? Star or something? Star Kevin. Yeah. See what him and Adam get mixed up into. So yeah, I mean, it's exciting. I love it. The New Avengers is definitely a page turner, though. I got to keep going. I just keep going. And also, I made me want to check out Black Bolt's solo book, which is awesome so far. But yeah, I'm excited about this series we're doing.
Yeah, I've read a lot of this before, so I have an idea what was coming. But these are the issues that we're about to read that I didn't read at the time. I picked up at the end of the story when the Times Run Out volume comes on, leading into Secret Wars. But what's about to come is some cool shit. You're going to get some interactions between characters you're not expecting. You're going to see the Illuminati have to make some tough decisions. You're going to see Cap's new team come across some things and start to become more aware of what's going on in the larger picture of the universe and how they react to that. And then you're also going to see how some of the Ultimate Universe characters. So those of you reading Marvel books now know that like Miles Morales and all those characters are all in the same universe. But at this point in the comic books, they weren't. There was still the Earth 616 and there was still the Ultimate Universe. But at some point, the Ultimate Universe is going to find out about these things, and they're going to make some decisions as well that are very interesting going forward. So I think we all like this, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely on board.
Yep. So we're going to keep reading. We kind of delayed this one a little bit, so we'll probably get the next one out within 2 weeks. So if you're listening and you want to be on this, just hit me up on Twitter or the emails in the show notes, and you can get in on this. But the next issues we're gonna read, we already talked about, and we'll probably do it 2 weeks from now. So thank you guys for listening. Make sure you subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, anywhere you get your podcast app. Leave us a 5-star review, please. It helps us out a lot. And we will be back soon. Thank you.